should I go with very large companies in the first few years, or should we start with maybe a smaller companies, startup, etc.? And what is the future looks like from your experience perspective?
Gone are the days when you start with a Unix or Linux and you retire.
What were the problem which you found like they were not solved?
So last 10 years, I think they are the most disruptive years in technology.
What is the impact of these technology changes which has started in like 2012 or 2013?
Other thing which is making a big buzz in the industry is artificial intelligence. 2018-19, again, Gen AI came.
It is cloud native computing foundation.
Absolutely.
And I hear a lot about this.
Then he showed me unixadminschool.com.
Okay.
And I told that whatever you are asking, see the author. That is written by me only.
Welcome back to another episode of Techie Talks with Kuldeep. I'm your host Kuldeep Singh. Today we are excited to have Mr. Yogesh Reheja. With nearly 2 decades of IT leadership experience at powerhouses like IBM, HCL, Orange and Fidelity. Currently he is the founder and CEO of Thinknyx Technologies, where he is helping the client in DevOps and cloud native programs. Let's dive in and hear more directly from him. Yogesh, welcome to the show.
Hi Kuldeep. Glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Yogesh, before we start our conversation, could you share about some of the learning and the experiences which shaped you to the tech professional which you are today?
Okay Kuldeep. So let me start with my childhood. I am born and brought up in Ambala. It's a city of scientific instruments and defense system of India. Mm-hmm. So my schooling have been in Hindi medium. Mm-hmm. So from class 1st to class 10th, I have studied in a Hindi medium where we started English in class 5th and 6th. Mm-hmm. So ABC actually have started in class 5th and 6th standards. Mm-hmm. And after that, I have switched from Hindi medium to English medium, wherein I did my non-medical. And then I started BTech. Uh-huh. I was completely unaware of the path, right? Uh-huh. When I was in class 10th, I was not aware which path I need to take. So people were talking about medical and non-medical. And I thought, okay, non-medical, let's give it a go. Uh-huh. And this is how I, joined non-medical in class 11th. Mm-hmm. And since then, everyone was preparing for AIEEE, IITs. Mm-hmm. So I was completely unaware what is IIT, what is AIEEE. Mm-hmm. And at the last day, we got to know that we need to appear for an exam in order to crack engineering. Mm-hmm. So I thought, let's give it a go as well. And mm-hmm. this is how I land up in engineering. Mm-hmm. So I did my BTech in Electronics and Communication from Kurukshetra University. Mm-hmm. And post that, I joined my first organization, Wipro. Okay. So I am very thankful because wherever I am today, it's mm-hmm. all because of the mentors and of course, Wipro mm-hmm. Technologies. Mm-hmm. After that, I joined companies like IBM, Fidelity, Orange, HCL, and worked with multiple, simple to complex projects mm-hmm. while my journey there. Mm-hmm. And once that journey was on the way, mm-hmm. I thought of doing something else. Okay. And this is how Thinknyx came into the existence.
Okay. While going back, you have worked with Wipro, HCL, IBM also, right?
Yes.
And even with the Orange as well as with the Fidelity.
Yes.
So there, what was your main job profile, etc.? Were you into some sort of a expertise role, for example, like the Unix consultant, etc.?
Yes. So what I'll do is I'll take a step little more behind. Mm-hmm. I was completely unaware of something called computer. Okay. And you will not believe even I cannot install Windows today as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm a core Linux guy. Mm-hmm. So the journey didn't started in a dreamy way. Mm-hmm. I joined a call center, right? So many of my followers, they are unaware of it. Okay. So I started my career with a company called Teleperformance. Mm-hmm. Being from a tier 2 city, or in fact I would say tier 3 city, there is something which was missing in people like me. That was confidence and to speak English in front of people. And that is why I think more than 20 companies have rejected me during my engineering phase. So I was unable to get a job.
Okay.
And that is how I started hunting something which can shape me in confidence as well as in public speaking. This is how I land up in my first job, which was in teleperformance. And within 3 months, I got an opportunity to, crack another interview, which was for Wipro. This is how I land up in Wipro.
Okay.
That was the first place where I have truly been introduced to something called technology. So they gave me a project which was for Unix. So it was a blackboard, right? So we are having a putty and we are just typing, ls, cd, mkdir, user add, right, pkg and all those kind of different commands. This is how I started my career in Solaris. So it was one of the giants operating system at that point in time, Sun Microsystems.
Sun Microsystem.
So I cracked Solaris 9 certifications, Solaris 10 certification, networking certifications, and then all together to a different era, which was known as volume managers. So Veritas volume manager, Veritas clusters, Red Hat clusters, HACMPs. So this is how I actually went into a technical world.
Okay.
And I am very thankful that I got good people in my journey. So I was independently working for the critical projects to do activities like patching, like building a server from scratch, and that too a standalone server, not a VM, right? Upgrading packages, creating and providing the access to different application teams, database teams, installing databases, and then automating those tasks so that someone can come, run a script, and everything, boom. So this is how I landed into Solaris. And that journey was, I think, for almost 4 to 5 years.
Okay.
And then a shift came in the entire industry. So Unix was about to die and Linux was emerging. And then I moved myself from Solaris to Linux. And then Linux to virtualization. The VMware in 2012, the VMware boom came. So I transformed my career from Solaris to Linux and Linux to virtualization. And then I got one very good opportunity by Simon Kroom. He was my engineering manager in Fidelity.
Okay.
So my engineering team was based out at UK. So one day he called me up and he said, Yogesh, will you be able to help us in the engineering tasks from Indian time zone? So I was little scared. Reason being, engineering means you need to do everything of your own. Either it is creating the templates or creating the ISO images which will be used by the entire organization. You need to validate all databases, all supported operating systems, do the automation, do the techno watch in the industry, find out solutions, integrate them within the organization, roll out. So I was scared, but I thought, let's give it a go. So that transformed my career from virtualization or scripting to DevOps. So that was the first project in my DevOps career. So we need to automate the shell scripting, Python scripting to a Puppet automation based solution. And that is how my DevOps journey started. And then cloud came into the existence. So public cloud, private clouds. So I'll give you one simple example. One of my friend came, he created one machine on cloud.
Okay.
And he said, I am unable to log in. My username and password is not working because I don't know how to give a username and password. Then I said, if username is not working, go to the basics. Let's see if we can log in via key-based authentication. That is how, firstly, I think in 2013 or 2014, we got to know in order to log in into a cloud VMs, the by default authentication is key-based authentication. So then my cloud journey started. Automating cloud environments, creating VMs, creating, the storage solutions, creating network altogether in a virtualized environment, and so on and so forth. And then came a big change in 2015.
Okay.
One of my friend introduced a keyword to me called containers.
Okay.
And I actually went back to my Unix time. Oh, we used to have something called chroot. That was also something like a container. Then he said, no, it is something else. then I started exploring containers. Because I was always thinking hardware virtualization is good. But what if you have a single operating system and you can reuse that operating system and create small isolated environments on top of it? And when I came across a tool called Docker, trust me, since then till now, I have been every day at least 2 to 3 hours dedicatedly working for CNCF ecosystem. Docker, Kubernetes, Calico, Prometheus, Grafana, OpenShift, EKS, AKS, GK, you name all those. You will see me and my team, we work day in, day out to experiment things, to learn things, to create a content out of it, to create our courses so that the broader audience can actually get a benefit out of it. So, and when containers came, after that, the entire ecosystem of this tech landscape has been changed. So last 10 years, I think they are the most disruptive years in technology. And then in 2018-19, again, Gen AI came. So more and more trend of AI, ML, deep learning, neural networks, LLM models, and then finally Gen AI. So this ecosystem is also getting evolved. So since last 5 years, I'm trying myself to actually learn more and more about AI. Firstly, it was AI on bare metal, AI on VMs. Now the trending, thing in the industry is the AI on containers, so that we can drastically reduce the cost as well. So this is how this journey has been so far, Kuldeep.
Now, and we will touch base on the technology part. But before that, what is the story behind your company, right? The Thinknyx. How did you came up with this idea? What were the problem which you found they were not solved, and this is something where the Thinknyx or the whatever thing were in your mind at that moment that this company is going to solve? Can you share more about that?
Sure, but you need to promise you will not laugh.
Sure.
2010, I was sitting in a room. I opened an Excel sheet and I started building a website. So since 2010, I was having an idea to do something. But what? That came into existence after 6 years in 2016. So 2009, I think 2009, I was working with UnixAdminSchool.com. At that point in time, that was non-profitable organization. And our main motto was to create content across different technologies, including Solaris, Veritas, Python, shell scripting, AIX, HPUX, and so on and so forth. So I think I have published thousands of blogs there. And then sometimes people, they used to come to us stating we are getting errors. So can you help us? So we used to share the screen and I used to do the troubleshooting for them. This is how the excitement and curiosity about technology is, ignited inside me. That, it's not only my environment or the project where I'm working. There are tons of other problems in the industry, which probably a single person cannot understand because we are confined in our environment. So I started writing blogs of all the errors and issues I used to face. So the day I get an issue, I write a blog, I publish. So that way I started getting a traction from many people across globe. So they used to refer my blogs and I feel honored sometimes. I did something for the community. And even there is one more story. 2013, I was giving one interview. And that interview lasts for 1 hour. And the person who was taking that interview, it was on Veritas clusters. So he was taking an interview and he was asking question, multiple times, which were related to the work which I have done. So slowly and steadily, I realized whatever he is asking, this is something which I have written in the past. So once my interview was over, so I asked that person that, can you tell me what are you referring? Because I have written something similar to it. Then he showed me UnixAdminSchool.com. And I told that whatever you are asking, see the author. That is written by me only. So he was impressed. Is it you? I said yes. So that is how I got to know that if you are writing a good content, a technical content, which is useful and used by multiple techie or technical people, then definitely you are going to get a traction in the industry.
Exactly.
So 2013, and after that, I helped multiple startups to, expand their business in technical domain, doing a solutioning for them and their customers, and so on and so forth. And when I was doing it, someone came to me in my office and he said, Yogesh, you explain things in very good way.
Okay.
So anyone who is completely novice, he will also be able to understand what you are trying to explain.
Okay.
Why don't you start your own learning batches or learning classes for different technologies? I took it very light.
Okay.
No, this is not my cup of tea.
Uh,
But similar way, I started getting same feedback from many other followers.
Okay.
And that is how I thought, let's start teaching.
Okay.
So this is how I went into a tutor mode.
Okay.
And I still remember the first batch I took was for Solaris 11.
Okay.
And then for Veritas, and then for Puppet, Chef, Ansible, Docker, Kubernetes, Cloud, and now I think there are more than 50 technologies on which I have trained, and I still prefer to train, multiple people so that the organizations can have their trained workforces. So during that time, I thought now it's time to do something big. And that is how the Thinknyx got established. And there is a big story behind the name as well. So Think, NYX. So Think means you think. N means Navshob. The first two people, Navshob, and Y means Yogesh. So Navshob and Yogesh were the two people who founded Thinknyx. And then X for execute.
Execute.
So you think, Navshob and Yogesh will execute for you. So the main motive was you think, we execute.
Okay.
So this is how the name came. It took 6 months for us to actually identify this name. And luckily, the K is also playing a pivotal role now.
Okay.
Because the K is also a name of one of our co-founders,
Okay.
Kulbhushan.
Kulbhushan.
So K, N and Y.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Navshob is not actively participating and he is working somewhere else. But yes, Kulbhushan and Yogesh are still taking Thinknyx to the next levels.
Okay.
So this is how our first domain started. So we used to give corporate batches. We are not into retail, we are into corporate ecosystem only. So we started giving corporate batches across all those technologies which were creating a huge disruption in the industry.
Okay.
Right? The CNCF ecosystem, cloud ecosystem, automation ecosystem, DevOps, CI/CD, and now so-called SRE as well, monitoring and logging ecosystem. So we study a lot about this. From our fundamentals concepts, we moved everything to the cloud native ecosystem or DevOps ecosystem and cloud ecosystem. We started doing POCs, and instead of just showing them how thing works, we actually do the entire POC as a capstone project.
Okay.
So that the students can understand, okay, the end goal is not to just create a VM. The end goal is to have the entire solution with us.
Yes.
So this is how our learning, journey for corporate started, and we were doing good, so we started getting the projects around them. So we started getting the POCs for creating image factories, for creating DevOps pipelines, for developer ecosystem as well as for the release or deployment ecosystem, then combine them together. Can you create the entire SRE ecosystem for us so that we can do the monitoring?
Yeah.
And even before 2020, we automated some of this stuff for our customers wherein the tickets can also be automated automatically.
Okay.
File systems are getting filled, services are not getting started, application got stopped automatically. So we created the entire ecosystem using traditional, automation tools like Ansible to automate the entire ticketing ecosystem in ticket resolution wise without human intervention.
Okay. So you were doing the AI work before, the AI was very normal in this ecosystem.
We need to think about it in the, from the past itself. Reason being, now what happens, visions and concepts are already there.
Yes.
We just need to identify them. Now AI is not new. The way we are implementing the AI is new. We were not having the computing powers at the past time. but now we have the GPUs. So what we can do is we can put more focus and more learning in the development of AI models and AI ecosystem. So this is the only thing which has been changed. The idea, the vision, it's still coming from past many years.
And one thing which is like the name story is very interesting, but what I can say is like there must be many companies, right, which are into this domain, right, and which they are helping the client. What are one or two key thing which make Thinknyx special, or maybe you are getting the feedback from your customer, hey, this is something maybe if we would have onboarded someone else, we would not have been able to achieve this. Can you share something around?
So we are not a product company, so we don't sell products to a customer. Rather, we focus on a solution which fits the best as per our customer environment. So we are not product agnostic. So what we do is we understand what the existing toolset and environment our customers are having, and basis on them, what we do is we actually create the entire toolset for them. And even we put multiple options with their advantages or limitations those products are having. And then with them, with the customer, we come to a conclusion on the toolset. And then we implement that toolset as per the design we perform for our customers. Second thing is people. So I think we are lucky that we are having some of the brightest DevOps and cloud native minds with us. So what they do is, instead of doing a workaround, we prefer to give a permanent solution to our customer so that their teams should not suffer when they scale. And the third and the most important part is the training part. So when we hand over a project to a customer, what we do is we enable their entire teams on the entire solution in terms of technical trainings, which is actually a very positive point for our customers, because they are people trained from the same team who have implemented the solution. So these are the three things which I feel make us little special in terms of DevOps, CI/CD, automation, CNCF ecosystem, cloud, or in AI ecosystem as well.
You brought in a very interesting point about this CNCF, right? So if I am correct, it is Cloud Native Computing Foundation.
Absolutely.
And I hear a lot about this, as well as the other tools and technologies such as Kubernetes, such as like Prometheus, Grafana, and so many the other thing. Could you share about the latest thing which are happening in this area? You seems to have right expertise on this topic.
Yeah, very interesting topic, and I think we can talk about this topic for hours and hours. But I'll restrict myself because we have time constraints. Since 2013,
yes,
the technology, as we have already discussed, the technology stack has been drastically changed. Gone are the days when you start with a Unix or Linux and you retire with Unix and Linux. Those days are gone. Now, since 2013 till date, in last 12 years, this entire ecosystem has been drastically changed. So from VMs, we have moved into containers. Now, when containers were introduced, now again, we are going little more technical to it, but I think basis on whatever discussion we are doing, it's important to bring those technical terms. So containerization was not enough to do everything, because you are having a single VM or a server and you are running your applications. If anything happens to your server, your applications are having downtime, so they suffer downtime.
Exactly.
To mitigate that, container orchestration came into a picture. And by the way, today it's 11 years and 1 day for Kubernetes. So yesterday was Kubernetes birthday, 6th June 2025. So the Kubernetes ecosystem have been evolved. Now Kubernetes has been given to us by a giant Google. So they were having an experience of running containerized ecosystem since multiple years by running google.com, youtube.com and many other of their products.
Yes.
They gave Kubernetes to CNCF.
Yes.
So this is how the CNCF was formed. So Kubernetes was the first CNCF project.
Okay.
Right? And then this ecosystem was not very mature.
Yeah.
Because the techies, the architects, they were not aware of container orchestration. This domain was booming, but it was not matured in 2015, 2014. So slowly and steadily, this CNCF as an ecosystem started, evolving.
Yes.
Many brightest brains in the world, they started contributing to different products. It all started from Kubernetes, but today there are thousands of projects. And even we have submitted one of the projects to CNCF, KubeBuddy. It is an AI-powered Kubernetes dashboard.
Okay.
So now we got few feedbacks from CNCF and we are trying to improve that so that we can resubmit it again. So if you go to the CNCF website, you are going to see multiple projects there.
Okay.
So it's not only Kubernetes or container orchestration. So you can think of Kubernetes as a battery. So there are multiple plugs which you can put in this battery. So those plugs are also coming as open source projects. And those open source projects are sponsored by CNCF. Example, like you said, Prometheus, a monitoring tool. Likewise, you have Cilium, a networking. So similarly, there are tons of other tools. We have Istio, we have multiple other tools. So now, as from 2015, this CNCF ecosystem started expanding. More and more related projects came into the umbrella of CNCF, and now they are getting matured, and companies have an advantage to use all these open source tools, stitch their solution, and they need not to move towards enterprise. So they can save huge amount of money. So they just need to focus on enabling their teams in order to support those open source projects or open source tools. So this is how CNCF, and they are remarkably doing very, very well. If you ask me my experience, I think in last 1 or 2 years, more shift have been introduced towards AI. Because since AI become a paramount for the industry for next couple of years or maybe 5 to 10 years more to have the entire streamlined AI tools to do 50% of the work which can be automated. So containers are also moving in that particular direction. So the next couple of years will going to be how to integrate the blend of AI with CNCF or with container orchestrated ecosystems.
You said like there might be even hundreds plus projects, right? So how does CNCF categorize them? Is there a certain maturity level, etc., which they publish?
Absolutely, yes. So first of all, there are categories. So monitoring tools, observability tools, networking tools, or let's say CRI, container runtime interface tools, and so on and so forth. So there are multiple categorizations. So when you submit your project, you need to identify which field your project is best suitable for. And then the TOC group of CNCF, they actually assess your application.
What is the full form of TOC?
TOC is Technical Oversight Committee. So TOC group will assess that, and basis on that, they will give you a feedback if they want to change it from one category to another category and so on and so forth. So this is how the categorization happens. And there are different maturity levels when you submit your project. So the first level is sandbox.
Okay.
So sandbox means you can say it's very initial phase, wherein more and more enterprise level features require to be added to your project. And then once sandbox is done, then the next phase will come. The next phase is incubating. And once incubating means the companies have started giving a traction to your
product.
Yes, and they started using it. And the last stage is graduation.
Okay.
So we have sandbox, first level, we have incubate, second level, and then finally we are having graduate. So Kubernetes is graduate.
Okay.
Prometheus is graduate. And likewise, when we talk about incubating or sandbox projects, you have K8s GPT, you have cloud native build packs. So there are many such other projects which are in sandbox or incubating stage.
So Yogesh, what is the impact of these technology changes which has started in like 2012 or 2013, And what is the future looks like from your experience perspective?
Very tough question to answer, Kuldeep.
Okay.
Now, the first impact is everything is getting hybrid.
Okay.
It's not you can run everything on data centers or VMs or only containers. Now, the hybrid environment is in place. So, some of your workloads, the legacy workload is still running on data centers. Some of your applications are still on VMs or cloud. And obviously, the majority of applications are getting transformed to microservices, which means the dependency of cloud native ecosystem or containers are more now. So, getting people who are aware of the entire ecosystem is tough. So, this is one of the challenge for hybrid environments. And the other thing which is making a big buzz in the industry is artificial intelligence. Now, still we are at a very early stages, but I think in next 5 to 10 years we are going to see a big boom in terms of tool sets, in terms of innovation, which will be brought in by or which will be bring in by AI. Now, it's good, but there are certain consequences also for AI.
Okay.
The first one is ethics.
Okay.
The second one is biasing.
Uh-huh.
And the third one is, which I hear a lot when I go to technical forums, right? That is copyright issue.
Okay.
Now we are generating more and more data. Example, let's say someone have written a song. Now that song belongs to that person or that song belongs to a tool who have generated it. It's still a grayish area. So we need to make sure to have solid compliances against the AI ecosystem, the tools, the standards that will going to probably make a big impact and maybe going to resolve a thing for us. I think future will going to tell us this question.
But you are saying like, in the future, the cloud native ecosystem plus, the AI, wherever we need to run it, also manage it, will have more tighter integration.
Absolutely. These two things will going to be must for I think next 10 years.
Okay. And one more interesting thing which you said, like you are going whenever you are attending any technical conferences or something, I see like you yourself have kept up to date through blogs, through creating those books, etc. as well. What are some of the things which you use to keep yourself up to date?
There are many things, because you cannot stay up to date with one thing or two things. So the first thing is, I always watch the technical space around multiple channels. What new is coming, how the old things are changed or transformed. So I keep researching on that. And whenever a new tool is introduced, which is related to our industry, I do a postmortem for that first. And once that is done, then what I do is I start creating some learning content around it, be it in the blogs, be it in the YouTube videos, and we publish that. So that if I am struggling, I'm sure thousands of others might be struggling. I'll give you one simple example, Claude Desktop. So Docker have introduced MCP. And Claude Desktop, when we were trying to integrate, it was showing us errors. So we were doing one experiment around KHGPT, Docker, as well as Kubernetes. And we were finding it difficult to stitch this. How to integrate Claude with KHGPT and with containerized ecosystem. So I did a lot of research on it. And then basis on that, right, it worked for us. We added that entire section in one of our courses as well, KHGPT Essentials. And then we created a YouTube video of it and we published it on our YouTube channel. So this is how you can stitch things together. Third thing is, conferences are a good way to, have a techno watch, what is about to come and what is stable at particular point in time and what is going to be deprecated, might be in future. So conferences are good. KubeCon is one of them, right? Open security conferences are also one of them. And many a times I go to, colleges as well. And I hear from their faculty that how they are, thinking about transforming the career of students, what approach they have, what innovative things they are doing in their environment, so that I can also learn that how it is starting from a ground up. So I think conferences and doing a postmortem of the technology, reading technical blogs, public forums. So these are some of the places from which I keep myself motivated and I keep myself updated.
And one more trend which I see, right? So the earlier what we used to go, maybe like, we just go to the conference maybe twice a year or once in a year, and that's how, the technology keeps on, you used to get something released and you know about it. But in today's world, everything is being released continuously, right?
Correct.
There is like every 15 days or once in a month, there is like a new release. So you have to keep yourself up to date, like on daily or on the weekly basis.
Correct. That's the reason you will find multiple weekly meetups and monthly meetups as well. So that is actually a very good way to keep yourself updated with what new features has been released for particular products. In fact, Cloud Native Computing Foundation have taken this initiative. So in Delhi NCR also there are groups in Gurgaon as well as Noida. So you can attend those weekly or monthly meetups as well.
And I think this is a great source of information, right? Specifically, people can come and meet in person and also discuss their
absolutely
their problem.
Correct.
So I know it's been like close to 2 decades since you are in the industry. What is some of the advice if you would like to give to the upcoming tech professional who would like to enter into this domain or into this technology space?
Tough question again. Now technology is changing a lot now. So the first thing is lifelong learning. So you cannot settle with one technology nowadays. You need to continuously evolve yourself and you need to learn, you need to reskill and upskill yourself. It's not that you are starting with containers and you are just going to end up with containers. No, you will not going to survive. So I think continuous journey is something wherein anyone should invest more time, right? So you should have 1 or 2 hours. If not, then at least 30 minutes dedicated a day. You should focus on yourself to research and to keep yourself updated with the evolving tech stack. So this is one. Second thing is, I think now we have multiple resources available. So you have YouTube, you have the websites where the technical documentations are available. So better we should get ourselves habitual to those documentation and those new trending technologies which are coming. And documentation and YouTube channels are one of the best sources to learn about new technology. So I think these are the 2 things which I would suggest everyone who is going to start their career or who want to upskill themselves. But there is one golden rule for it. And that golden rule is Linux. Wherever you go, whatever you do in your life, if you don't know Linux, I am sure you are going to struggle. So everything in IT industry starts from Linux. Either you are a developer or a tester or a build and release guy or a SRE engineer or a DevOps or automation engineer. If you are not having a strong foundation of Linux, definitely one day or another you are going to see challenges.
And one more interesting thing, this is how like you have shaped your journey. But like if I'm just starting now, and from the company and the other perspective, which one would you recommend? Should I go with like very large companies in the first few years, or should we start with maybe a smaller companies, startup, etc.?
See, everyone will going to have a different opinion on this question. I'll give the answer from my perspective. If I would have been given a chance to work in a small company, I would love to do that. Because in small organizations, it's not one work you do. There are multiple diversified work which you have to do. It's like solution or only one product. So if you are aiming at solution, then I think small companies will give you better opportunity. So it's not that you are just going to work on Linux. It's not you're just going to work on Docker or Kubernetes or Prometheus. It's going to entire solution. So from provisioning to deployment to the final release. So end-to-end responsibility will be on your shoulders.
Yeah.
And in that case, you're definitely going to learn more. So you are always going to be 5 years ahead of someone who is not having that opportunity in the past.
Yeah. And I think the opportunity is also because the smaller companies do not have, those many people
Yes.
in the initial stage. So that's where you will be forced to learn, even if like you are not comfortable, but then there will be some work which will get stuck, and then you learn, and this is how you.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Yes.
Yeah. And in the companies, right, which are usually they start small, etc. Is there something like a work pressure, which I also hear like there is like 18 or 20 or 24 hours work? Is this something? Maybe you can share the experience about your own company. Do the people work these many longer hours?
So in our organization, I think no one works beyond 7 hours.
Okay.
So 1 hour is just for doing some brainstorming, talking to each other, finding something. But I think in our organization, we are very flexible organization. So we don't put pressure.
Okay.
Rather, we motivate them. It's up to them. If they want to take that as an opportunity and want to do something extra for themselves, then there are some of our people, they always take one extra step. We say do it tomorrow. They will do it the day before that. At night they work, they do, they complete, they come and they say okay, it's done. Even that give us also a confidence that they are eager to learn. And it completely depends. But yes, from our side as an organization, we never force anyone to work beyond official 8 hours.
This is a good thing to share, because that's sometime the back of the mind, the question also comes, do I need to just focus only on the work part, because then there is the other part of the life which I cannot focus. But it is good that the Thinknyx and you as a founder is thinking in this direction.
I think all thanks to our HR.
First of all, thanks a lot for sharing your journey. I think it was it's good to see that how you have evolved over time. Since I know from starting days of your and even mine career, and starting it with the vlogs, thinking about how it can take a shape of a company, and specifically coming from tier 2 or tier 3 city and building a company, sustaining it and scaling it. Very wonderful work, and thanks a lot again for joining us and also sharing your journey.
Yeah, pleasure is all mine, Kuldeep. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope you liked this episode. Do subscribe to the channel and share it in your network. Until next time, keep learning and keep innovating. Thank you.